All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining if you're here for the GDSC event. Now, first off, you might be wondering, are you guys really holding a workshop on HTML? Like, seriously? It's not a programming language. To which I say yes, because the last time we did this last semester, we tried having an event where you build your own Linktree page, and we tried doing HTML and CSS all in one event, and that didn't go well. Everyone went home not the pacing was too fast and people didn't get it. So this semester we're turning this into its own series. So we're having a HTML event, which you're in. We're having a CSS one October 31st, and then a JavaScript one, which is where things actually start, rolling, get things rolling, and we get advanced, get things dynamic with our webpage. So for today, welcome. I'll pass things over to Tim.
Who here had experience with HTML? Okay. Okay, Mal.
Who here is already well experienced in web development? Okay, cool.
Nice.
Hi.
Okay.
You can get started while people download this too.
But what about the link? Should we?
Oh, we can let them check a link.
Okay.
I got that.
Okay.
I just
Okay. So what is HTML? It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML defines the structure and content of web pages. So it's basically like a skeleton of a web page. If you think of it as one. So like we said, we're gonna do like a 3-part series. We're gonna start with HTML, which is the structure of web pages, CSS, how we can style it, make it look prettier, and JavaScript is for behavioral stuff or like interactivity, stuff like that, which will be later on. What is HTML not? It is not a programming language. Although HTML is commonly referred to as a language, it is important to understand that it is not a programming language. Rather, it is a markup language. So what's the difference? So programming languages, while you're learning class, Python, Java, JavaScript, C++, etc., allows you to make logic, conditionals, loops, for loops, if statements. Markup languages describes and defines the structure and contents of a document. It's only for structure and content. It does not have logic, conditionals, etc. Examples include HTML for websites, Markdown, very popular on Discord, Reddit, GitHub, READMEs, and there's also XML, which are for general purpose markup languages. How is HTML structured? There's only two things, elements and tags. Elements represents different parts or pieces of content in an HTML document. So paragraphs, headings, links, images, etc. Tags marks the start and end of an element. It's written using angled brackets, so something like this. Am I going too fast, too slow? What do you guys think? Just good? Okay, thank you. Okay, so tags and elements are used interchangeably. However, they mean different things. So this is basically an example. This is basically everything you see in an HTML document, basically, this whole thing. So, and the whole element is everything here, but tags are in the opening and endings of it, and you can add stuff in the middle for content. So this is the whole layout, and this is all you really need to know to start making an HTML document for your website. Each element has an opening tag and a closing tag, and there will always be content in the middle of it. And the whole thing is an element. A simple analogy would be an element in HTML can be thought of as a container or storage box for your content. Your content could be text, images, even videos. And tags act like the labels of the container, indicating what's inside in this case, or in this case, how the content should be treated. So if you have a paragraph tag or a paragraph element, what you should put inside that tag is text. If you have an image, what you should put inside is an image. And therefore, there will be many, many different elements. There are many different elements created by using the many distinct tags available. For example, like I said before, a paragraph element is a container specifically for textual content. A link is a special container when opened or clicked takes you to another web page. An image element is a container where you can put your pictures of whatever you want. So basically, a lot of things in life could be a container, like your backpack, a bowl, but for your bowl, you put food in it, and you don't really put food in your backpack. Or you don't really put books in your bowl. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's go over the many tags. But first, does anyone have any questions? What questions do you guys have? No, nothing.
Is everyone sure that HTML is not a programming language? It's very important.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's have a quiz then. Those who answer gets a prize. So, question 1: HTML defines the what of web pages?
Stop.
Oh, see. Yes, correct. Hold up. I've got stickers if you want some. Programming stickers? How much? Yeah, pick up one. I'll put it somewhere here. There's a bunch of them for different programming. They're really cool. Okay, second question. Or hold up. How is HTML structured? What makes up an HTML document? Two things.
Tags
Mm-hmm.
and the mechanics.
Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is an element, right? Yeah, correct. If you want stickers, you can come up here one. HTML is structured using elements which are defined by tags. And question 3: what's the difference between an element and a tag? And you kind of already explained it. Answer this, but yes.
I guess the thing that I the content
Mhm.
element.
And the whole thing, everything. Yes. If you want stickers, go get one.
Oh sure.
There's also other stickers over there too. There's a really big bag over there. Okay. Elements represent the content and structure in an HTML document, while tags mark the beginning and ending of an element. Tags also mark the type of elements. Okay, so let's go over the main different tags. There's over 100 unique tags, which in HTML5, which is the current version of HTML. But we're only going over the most important ones that we think you will be like using most often. So P tags are paragraph tags. They're used to define blocks of text. And let's see if I can just show you. So I already have one here. A P tag right here. You can type whatever in here. My name is. And it would update the text over here. So next up is unordered list. You use these to create bullet points, and then inside the unordered list, you use li, which are the bullet points. So I can show you real quick. Uh, so ul, and in there you use li. If I can type one thing. Oops, hold up. And then you can add more as you like. So two thing, and keep going on from there. Okay. And if I just go back, next is ordered list. Same thing as unordered, except instead of bullet points you see before, there are numbers. I'm not gonna show that because I already showed it. Anchor tags. They're used to define hyperlinks to navigate to another page or source. So an attribute is something else. You can add them in tags to as additional properties or behavior of that tag. And I can show you real quick.
Press back and refresh it.
No. There you go. And then there's another attribute you can add, which is it? I believe it's target. So if you add this, it will give the user a new tab to go to instead of changing up your website. Instead of updating this tab, it lets the user go to a different tab. It's pretty cool. Thanks, Angel.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, image. You used to add images. There's two attributes. SRC is the source. So you can add the source as like the pathing of file. Angel's gonna show it later when he does the lab portion. Alt is just alternative text to image display. So basically, what alt does is that there are many people that use the internet that need to use a screen reader because they cannot see well, etc. So it's more of just for like accessibility, and I think it's pretty important. But not a lot of programmers actually use the alt tag.
And you should put an alt tag just for
you should.
accessibility, which is
Accessibility,
important.
which is
Also,
really
if your
important.
image doesn't load, your alt tag shows. It's like an error kind of.
Mhm. So the next up is H1 to H6. So these are the headings of your website. So let's say you have a website named your cooking recipe, right? If you want the title, this is basically the title, you can put like your cooking recipe on it. And it goes from one to six, one being the most important to six being the least significant, basically. Um, okay, strong. All it does is to make your text bold.
But
Yeah.
in semantic HTML, people used to use it just to like make things bold, but that isn't really the function of it. You should use it if your text is really, really important. You often want to make it bold, but it's just to signify to internally that this thing is important, and I think it plays into accessibility as well.
It does.
Yeah, I think this is part of the semantic HTML, which we'll talk about later on.
We'll talk about semantics later, which is also pretty important. Okay, this is cool. Button. So you want to make your website have a button? That's what you do. Button. And in the middle, you can type in what text you want. Let's show it real quick. So click me, and then you have a button. And this looks not that good. A little, I don't know, a little bland, but that's why you need CSS to make it look prettier. And comments. So this is how you make a comment. It's not really displayed in the browser, but if someone sees your code, you can like type whatever you want them to know about.
You should speak to the next ones because they don't actually show anything.
Oh, okay. And div. So this is kind of confusing at first, but a div is non-semantic and generic. Semantic means it means like something has meaning. So when a div is not semantic, it doesn't really have meaning. You basically use divs to help you like style content. Later on in CSS, you see we use divs, or we're gonna like style divs to like move content around. Like if you want to have, let's say you have like six icons, if you want to like display it in a way, you use CSS, and you need to wrap it in a div to like style it. But they're not semantic and generic, so basically it has no meaning.
They're just ways for you to group content for later in our CSS event when you want to style specifically that group and not the entire web page.
It'll make a lot more sense when you do the lab portion. And section, a semantic container for separate content that are related. So this is kind of where you group a lot of big things together. Like for example, you have a website, you have like a link, like the first page, the user you can like group them all together, be related. I don't know how to really explain this unless you like.
Do you want me to talk about semantics towards the end? You can just do the
okay. Nav. So this is another container for nav links and anchors used as site menus that goes to different pages on the site, table, context center. So when you go to a website, you usually see like a bunch of like links together, and you should wrap them together in a navigation for semantic purposes, basically. And header. This is a container for the introductory or navigational content that is at the top of the web page. So when you go to a web page, you see a bunch of links at the top, right? This is kind of how you should group them together in the header. And they contain a site logo, main navigation, or other introductory content. So let's say you have like a website for recipes. You would probably have like a recipe book, ingredients, or whatever at the top or the header, and your logo too at the header of your website. And you should put that in the header. Footer is basically the opposite. It's for the last thing of your web page. If you ever scroll all the way down to the bottom of the website, you see like copyright, all that stuff. That's why you should put all your stuff in there. And that's basically what footer is. And that was a lot. Going pretty fast because I want to get to the hands-on portion. We went through a lot of many HTML tags that you will encounter used most frequently to create a web page. However, please don't worry about memorizing them all. Once you start building projects, they will come naturally. Some people focus so hard on like memorizing all of them at once that they don't really start building stuff right away. And you learn the most when building. So if you want to learn them all, MDN Web Docs has a page of all HTML tags and their uses. You want to take a look at it. It's just called MDN Web Docs, and they're HTML. page has all their tags and their uses. Since that was a lot, anyone have any questions? Anything unsure, confusing?
I'll check the.
Yeah.
What are semantics again?
I'll cover that in the next
Yeah,
slide.
there'll be next slide. But
Yeah.
semantic, all you know, it basically semantic means having meaning, and we'll show more in the next slide.
Any other questions not related to semantics, which we'll go over in the next one?
So now VMware download HTML snippets. Code.
Is that recommended to you?
I don't know. I just
You can if you want.
I don't know yet.
If you never installed VS Code before, there are a bunch of extensions you can install. You don't have to for this event specifically, but feel free to install whatever you want.
Yeah.
VS Code, but we're not going to be using.
We're going to use what?
There was an extension.
Oh, we're using live server and yeah.
Well,
you explain it. You explain. Okay, good. Anyone? Yes. The materials.
Oh yes. Can you
Go back. Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
in the meantime, are there any other questions?
Is it right there? Assets. Okay. Any other questions? Is my pacing good? Too fast? Too slow? Good. Okay.
A bit fast towards the end, but that's because we want to get to the lab.
Yeah.
The actual build.
What time is it? Oh, we need to go. We need to go. Oh, everyone got the links? Okay. Okay. Quiz time.
Right.
What's the difference between OL and UL tags?
OL is an ordered list that gives numbers, and
Yeah.
UL is unordered.
Yeah.
Gives it both.
Nice, good. Good job. What is it? Okay, question 2. What attribute do you use to specify the path of an image when using image tag? Anyone remember? Oh, there's options. A to D. Does anyone want stickers? They're pretty cool stickers. No? Yeah.
All.
No, all close, very close.
D.
Is it D? Yeah, it's D. Can you get a sticker? Okay. There's D. Okay. Does anyone want any stickers? You can name a valid HTML tag and what it does, and you get sticker. They're really cool.
Yeah. You can't say marquee because that's deprecated, and we don't use that. Marquee.
Yeah.
Button can
But
make a clickable button.
yeah, you can even want a sticker. They're really cool stickers, guys. Yeah.
Just three.
Text, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, paragraphs. You want to have text for your website. Yeah, if you want a sticker, you can go get one. Anyone else? Need stickers?
And I'll leave this.
But there's more stickers in that box that are ripped. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the final stretch before the hands activity. Okay, HTML boilerplate. Before you add anything on your website, you need a boilerplate, which is basically the structure that every HTML document you ever encounter has. So this is the boilerplate. You might actually have to know all of this. You should have to know that you need it for your website. But the doc type HTML declares that it's an HTML5 document. So HTML is a tag is for the root of all. It's basically called a root element. So all your other elements go inside the HTML tag, and the language English is English language. I had to search some of this up. So the head tag is where we'll go on to this later, but this is where you add like other attributes to your HTML kind of. So the on line 4, that's just helps with like displaying text from other languages. I had to look. It's not that important. You make sure you have it. The title is important though. It's if you add title to it, it basically changes what your tab. Let me show real quick. So up here it says document, but you change the title here to my website. My website or Google. It's Google. Okay. Okay. And then the body tag is where you put all your content in there. And yeah, that's everything.
I can take over this time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about semantics and what does that actually mean. So back in HTML4, before HTML5 came out, which is the current thing, you used to have websites with a lot of divs, which what we talked about is to group elements together. And so what semantics essentially means relating to meaning. So we showed things like footer and section and nav, and those are all, they basically function like divs where you group your tags together. But what this does is, one, it plays into the accessibility part of websites where it helps screen readers differentiate between what's either a decoration or what's important or what should be spoken or what should be hidden from screen readers because maybe they're just an image or an icon that doesn't need to be spoken. Um, Yes, so let's take a look. So this is essentially what I was talking about. And semantics also works for you as you read your HTML code, which in introductory you might often be doing. So in this example, a bunch of divs. This doesn't really tell you what it is, but if we add some HTML semantics, suddenly some of this starts to make sense. So at the top we have our navigation elements, which is how you navigate throughout pages, and then you have your main tag, which is where all your main content is put. And then you have your header, which is the top, So all of this essentially made that div code that was really generic and, you couldn't tell what it was at a glance into something that is more readily readable and more readily understandable. And that's a very important part of HTML5 when you start writing HTML. So using these tags will A, make your life easier as you read through your website code, and B, make life easier for people who need screen readers and who may not be able to directly see your content and instead have to rely on the actual code. Let's skip that. Yeah, so here's a little comparison. And as I said, some benefits. Oh, yes, SEO, search engine optimization. So things like your H1 tag and the way you structure your website also plays into how Google parses your website to put content in the search results. We won't go into detail on that, but that is certainly a factor on why you should write good semantics HTML5. Oh, I can talk about this too as well. So there are two different types of elements which will become apparent when we go into the lab, the hands-on part. So you have block elements, which essentially are like p tags. So when you write a p tag, that element will take the entire line of your page. But if you write something like an a tag, when you put an a tag and a p tag together, and we'll see this in the lab, they don't go into their own spaces because a tag is an inline element. It'll actually go with your p tag, and this will make sense when we actually go into the lab. Which activities? So hopefully you have VS Code installed. If you don't, again, you can go on vscode.dev to follow along. But any last minute questions before we get into the lab? Yes.
Yes, Joe, no.
You can use VS Code on your phone. It would be very difficult to do so, but you can do it. Yeah. If you can do it, I'll give you a sticker.
I'll download it.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's get started. So, yeah. First things first. If you all downloaded VS Code, you'll probably see a default window. In my case, I will just do this. Make a new folder. We'll just put it desktop. Web dev. So make a new folder somewhere you'll remember. Name it something you'll remember. And then open it in VS Code. You can either do it the way I just did, or if you go to File and then Open Folder, it'll also just be there. Let's get started. So first off, let's make a new file. We'll click this little icon, and then type in index.html. And instead of typing up all the boiler code that we just saw, you can just type in HTML, and then you'll see this little pop-up. If you scroll down and just enter, you'll see it automatically just writes it for you. Okay. So let's title, we should actually show what we're building. So if you go, this is our Discord. If you go to events and you scroll all the way up, we had an event where we designed the thing we were actually going to build today. And it kind of looks like this. So we're going to be building this thing that we mocked up in Figma when it loads, this. So this is what our final web portfolio will look like. And for today, we're just going to write out the layout in HTML. And then in the next event, we'll actually style it up and make it look like that. But for now, I'll go back to VS Code.
HTML that pops up, but I get it.
Weird. Is anyone else also not getting anything? Did you install VS Code beforehand,
Oh,
or?
no, it's self-browsing.
Oh, okay. If you're on the browser, then I thought it did do that, but unfortunately you will have to write that out, which is,
That's
you know, yeah. Okay. But let's name it something good. So Angels Portfolio. And now let's start actually writing out our HTML. So, as we saw in the design, we have this little. Where did it go? Ah. So we have this little kind of header kind of thing. So HTML has a tag for this. It's called aside. So aside. And in this aside, we want our image, our name, and some icons. So H1, we're going to use an H1 tag because our name is the most important thing on the web page. So Angel. And I apologize. This is not my computer, and I'm also standing, so I'm not going in there.
You want this for again.
Oh, okay. One moment. I apologize. I hope that hasn't been happening the whole event. You joined on your phone.
Oh, my bad.
You have to exit from
I
your phone.
apologize.
Yeah, join stage.
Are you gonna talk about live server too? Or
Yes. So if you want to preview your stuff live, if you go to extensions and type in live share, is it called live share? No, it's called
Live server.
live server. Server. Yes. So if you click on this, if you click install and then you press this little thing at the top, and then go to preview. Yeah. Preview.
It's on the bottom right too. Oh, on the bottom right.
I don't use this, so I apologize. Yeah, but I think if you right click this and then you click
Open with live server.
open with live server, yeah, then it'll automatically start doing its thing. Oh, look, there you go. Yeah. So that's a way to live preview your stuff as you make changes. Let's continue. I'm actually gonna sit down. Anyway, so we have our name. Oh yes, I have to download the assets as well. Did you download the assets already, or?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's fine. So, extra time to get this installed if you don't already, or download it. I apologize.
Do you have any issues that go around?
Yeah. And if you don't know where to put these icons, you can just put them. So I have these side by side. What I'm going to do is just drag this over here. And I'm going to rename this to just assets. Assets. Yeah. And now if you go back to VS Code, you'll see them all here. So we're going to use these icons in a little bit. But let's continue here. We want to say what we actually, like our job title, I suppose, is what you put on LinkedIn. So, web application developer. And I want to put some little icons that you can click on to go to some of my social media pages. So, let's do an image tag. And we'll give it a source attribute. And all attributes go in between quotes. And we're going to put in the file location of our icon. So the way you say look in the folder that I'm currently in is to put a dot slash. And that essentially tells the browser to look in the current directory for whatever you're about to put. So dot slash assets will look in your current folder and then go to the assets folder in your current folder. And VS Code has some helpful like pop-ups here. So I want to put in my LinkedIn, and that's it. And we should put an alt tag. LinkedIn logo. And now I just said I want this to go to a web page. So image on its own isn't clickable, but what you can do is you can nest elements inside another element. So let's do an A tag, and then we can put in our image tag inside of it. So what that does is it makes the image clickable because it's wrapped inside of an A tag, or an anchor tag is what it's technically called. And so let's make it go somewhere. So we'll give it an href attribute, and we'll make it go to linkedin.com/LNA. So that's the link to my LinkedIn. I just happen to know it. And now we have a clickable icon that goes to my LinkedIn. And now let's say I want to add, I don't know, my resume. Actually, no, because I don't have the. Well, yeah. Let's say you have a link to your resume. You can copy paste the A tag with the image that you just wrote, and you can just switch out this icon. So I think I called it docu material. Oh, I called it material document icon.svg. Then if you have a link to your like a PDF of your resume, you can put it there. Let's see, what else? What else did I have? Yes. So there are a bunch of other icons there. If you want to put more links, I'll let you do that. But for the sake of time, I'll just move on to the next thing. So now I have oh, we can actually preview what this looks like for now. So no, quite. Ah, yes. Okay. So this is the previous one. This is what it currently looks like. So it doesn't look like much at the moment. The browser will give your HTML some default styles, but in the next event where we go over CSS, we'll go from this to what the design is in the Figma file. So for now, it'll look simple, but we'll get ready for the next event where all of our HTML will be well laid out in order to style it. So let's continue writing some HTML. This is our sidebar. We're basically done with this. Let's go to the actual main content with all of our text. So we'll use a main tag to signify that this part of our site is the actual content that people should focus on. And let's write an h2 tag to signify that this is still a header, but it's not as important as my name. And we'll just say hello. And let's use a p tag, which is a paragraph tag, to write some text. So hello. My name is Angel, and I'm a CS major at UIC. I primarily work with the web. All right, Control S to save. Let's check out what it looks like. All right, so still doesn't look like much, but we're getting there. Let's continue on. Actually, we should make this into a section because right now we're going to have a project showcase. So in the final version of my website, I want there to be a showcase section where we grab data live from GitHub to make it look like our website is dynamic and updating all the time. So right now, this isn't actually going to update at the moment, but we're going to set placeholders here so that in the JavaScript event, we can actually change it. So we have a showcase part, and we'll say, let's give it a link. So GDSC website. And what I just did was I nested an a tag in a paragraph tag so that it all goes with the text. So we'll give it an href, https github.com gds. You don't actually have to put in the link. I'm just putting it there. So and then we'll say okay. Let's reference the design. So in this design, we can see that I have a link and I have a little icon and some text next to it, and I want that to reflect in my actual website. So this is an actual HTML, this is like images that I mocked up. But as we start coding it, I want it to look exactly like that, where it's in line with everything else, meaning we have to use some inline elements. So an A tag is an inline element, and then an image tag is also an inline element. So if let's add the icon for the star. So the source of this is in our current folder, in the assets folder, and it's called material-star.icon.svg. And we'll give it an alt. So alt star icon. Nope. My bad. And we'll say that there's 32 stars. So if you don't know what stars are, on GitHub, it lets you essentially give repositories likes, and that's essentially what a star is. And this will become useful in the future, but we're actually going to put this in a span tag. And what a span is it's kind of like a div tag where it groups elements together, but a span is an inline element, so you can group inline elements together. So that's what I just did. And enter. In our design, we say what the current what the latest commit was. So latest code commit, and we'll just put a placeholder here. Added user login system. And we also want to show the people that worked on this. So authors, me, and Tam. Great. And now, as you can see, we have two distinct sections of our website. We should probably put those in its own section tag. And then we can move this here. And make our code look nice. Let's tap this in. And for later, we can give this an ID. So what an ID attribute is in our CSS event, this will become useful along with the JavaScript event. But essentially what these do is in CSS and JavaScript, when you give something an ID or a class, which we'll talk about in the next event, is it lets your CSS and JavaScript directly target this HTML. So we're going to name this intro section. And we should probably put this in its own section as well. So section. And then we'll move this down. And if you're wondering how I just did that, I held down Alt and then I pressed down on my arrow keys, and then that moved the tag down. And VS Code actually indented that for me, which I didn't know it did. I just learned today. So two distinct sections. We'll give this an ID as well. So project section, project showcase section, because I actually want to add another section, and we'll give it an ID of project section. And now in here we'll do the same thing where there's an h2 tag. We'll name it projects. And let's do the same thing as our showcase where we have a paragraph tag with a link, an anchor tag, and we'll give it the same github.com. And what's a project that I have? Let's Discord bots. And in our design, we also have these little icons to show what the language we used is. So I want that to also be on my actual coded website. So let's use some inline elements, which happen to be images. So I have an image. I'll give it a source. This was made in JavaScript. So we'll give it a JavaScript icon. Alt. We'll give it an alt. JavaScript icon. And we want to describe what this project was. So I'll do another p tag and say Discord bot that monitors the GDSC Discord server. And you can put your own projects here. I'm just putting like placeholder text essentially. And now Control S, and let's preview what we have so far. So as you can see, our p tags. So this is a p tag. This is a p tag. They're block elements, meaning that they will take the entire width of our web page, and we can actually showcase this. So if you've ever right-clicked this and accidentally done inspect, if you've ever accidentally seen this screen, this is where it becomes useful. So if I hover over the code here, and this will actually show the source code for our project, you can see these p tags. This is called the dev tools. So this shows a block element showing that this takes the entire width. And if I unfold this and look at our a tag, you can see that this inline element just takes the space inside this p tag. And same thing for this image. And if we hover over our apologies, our span, you can see that this span, which groups our inline elements, also only takes its own space, which makes it an inline element. And let's see what else. So in the few moments we have left for the event, let's make this link go to a new page. So let's say I want to make a new page specifically to showcase this Discord bot. So let's make a new file, call it discord-bot.html. And then we can tell VS Code to do the same boilerplate. You can just copy paste your code as well if you just want to see this working. But in this page, we have Discord bot. Discord bot. So just a simple little web page to show that you can change between pages. So in this A tag, right now I have it going to github.com, but let's say I want it to go to the local file in my website. So similar to how we said that the icons are in this folder specifically, you can put /, and then you can type in discordbot.html. And now what the browser is going to do is it sees, oh, we don't want to go to GitHub. We want to go to this HTML file that is in this folder specifically. So if we Control S, I'm going to go back to this. When we click on Discord bot, you'll see that the browser navigates to your other HTML page, and it kind of looks like that. And right now it looks simple. In our next event, we'll style it up to make it look as nice as this. But yes, for now, this is essentially the HTML skeleton code that we're going to style in the next event. So we're going to go from looking like this to looking like this. And if that looks like a really big jump, it's because it is. Even though this looks very different, behind the scenes, this actually uses the same HTML. No, as I said, this is just images. It's not an actual website you can play with. But in our finished project, in the background, it'll just be the HTML we just wrote today styled into this. And if you want a preview on how you can do that, I'm just going to quickly go over this. In the next event, we'll go into more details on how to do this. But if you give a style tag inside of your head, let's say we want to make this intro section like dark mode. So we'll say hashtag intro section. And if this doesn't make sense right now, we'll explain it in the next event. This is just a preview of the next event. But let's say we want the text to be white and the background color to be this like really dark gray. And that's hex code for really dark gray. If we go back to our preview, you'll see that this turned into what I just wrote down. And this is really rudimentary and simple. And in fact, we can make our HTML look nicer with just a few changes. So if we say select the body tag and make it make the background color this really dark color as well, color white, and we want the font family to be this sans serif. And we'll go over more detail what this just did, but we just changed the fonts, the colors, etc. And this looks certainly better because it doesn't use that old font, that old looking like essay font. But in the next event, we'll go over how you can turn this into this. For now, while we prepare for the next event, I would suggest adding in more links. So right now these are very, very dark. We'll fix that in the next event as well. But add in your own links for whatever you want to show. I added some icons for like Instagram or Twitter if you also want to add those. add in the projects that you want to showcase. So I just put one project here, but put as many as you want. In the end, this will be scrollable. So add in as many projects as you want, or you want to add in your own sections, put in your own sections as well. This project showcase, if you have a GitHub and you have a project that you specifically want to show here with like your latest commits and stuff, keep it in mind. Add in placeholders here for now. In the JavaScript event, we'll actually pull live data from the GitHub API and put the latest code commits, the latest stars, and actually update our HTML from this static like placeholder thing to a live dynamic a data that we actually grab from GitHub. So that is actually it for now. So if there are any other questions, feel free to ask. We'll stay for a little bit. Oh, yes.
Can you share the Discord link? Because I want to check it.
Yes. So if you want to go to our Discord, and I'll add in a little comment. So https bit.ly/GDSC UIC Discord invite. That is the Discord invite link if you'd like to join. Yes. Yes. So, if you actually go to this, github.com/GDSC UIC. Yeah. So, we'll share it in this repository. So we'll actually have an event recap in the page where you RSVP'd. We'll update that tomorrow when we get all of the recording and stuff in order. And we'll also put it in the Discord. So if you're in the Discord, we'll also send a link to this once we actually commit the code. But yes, this code and a recording of this event will be available tomorrow or over the weekend. We'll ping people on Discord. But yeah. And I guess we can send an email to the RSVPs as well with the code. Any other questions? Cool. Yeah, we'll stay around for a little bit, but otherwise, thank you for coming. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy your weekend.